Lining up the team, gonna lead us again someday. Got fans all here, we have no fear. Gonna repeat as champs this year. We are the pack. We are the pack. Buddy, you're a Reggie good man. Leading with your heart, gonna put up a win someday. They got white in their face, he plays with grace, kicking their butts all over the place. We are the pack. We are the pack. Buddy, you're a head coach, hey Mike, won't you tell me what you're thinking about the game Sunday? Got a smile on your face, love this place, feels pretty good when you're winning the race. We are the pack. Louder! We are the pack. I said louder! We are the pack. Everybody now.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won. Victory ride, emotions of a year.
All right, that's enough of that. Good morning, Madison. How's everybody doing out there? Tom Garrett's Bucky's Packers. A little bit of voice of NFL films. John Frisenda. Autumn wind is a pirate. I like that. What do you think about that, guys?
It's good stuff, Tom.
Absolutely love it.
Speaking with you, because being our Mr. Raider guy over there, so good news for you.
Oh, of course.
It is 10:05 right now. Actually, it's 9:05.
It's 9:05.
It's all screwed up, even in Tommy's clock. But it is 9:05 right here. I hope everybody's got their clock straightened out. Good morning, 91.7 FM, Madison, Wisconsin. Your UW Student Radio. Bucky's Packers, Tom Garrett, your host here. And I got some buddies in studio. Go around, introduce yourself, and say whatever you want to do, buddy.
All right, man. Brandon Storley here, and looking forward to the game today.
Yeah. Brandon's an old timer. He's been on the show quite a lot. Go back to the days of the Sports Wire. So, how you doing? Anyways, got another buddy?
And this is Ben Briner repping the West Coast Sports in the 608.
Cool. Mr. Oakland Raider, the pirate guy over there. So now let's lead this off with a little bit about the Packers, man. Was that something on Monday night or what? Come on.
There's nothing to say. I mean, everybody doubted Favre after the Washington game. You know, he's lost his touch. He can't throw the deep ball, all this stuff. 46 yards in the air in one play, and there you go.
And I got to hear all these wonderful stories from non-sports inclined roommates about how their roommates who were watching the game just went off when that play happened and are running around the apartment screaming. And these non-sports inclined roommates are like, what is going on?
You know what?
You'll never understand.
No.
Speaking of that, I realize I'm getting old because I just sat there in shock. And usually when I was your age, you know, I'd be running around going crazy, breaking my arm, yelling my voice out. And I literally was just like, it was so cool. Yeah. It was just unbelievable. Another miracle by Brett out there. I tell you, our Pack, we are 6-1, man. And we got the Chiefs today.
The Chiefs today, the one team other than the Packers that Favre hasn't beaten.
Yeah, he seems to be taking care of a lot of things he hasn't done yet. Like took care of the Broncos last week. Packers haven't went out there, and I don't think he's ever beaten the Broncos either.
He beat the Broncos, but not in Mile High.
Right, okay, that's what it is. So, get another ghost away from Kansas City off our back today. So, yesterday, Brandon, it was so close. I'm telling you, man, we were there. We were poised.
Close.
After Presley caught the touchdown, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Again, talking about our Buckies, what do you guys think about yesterday?
Well, I mean, you watched the beginning of the game, especially when the Badgers were on the comeback trail. And again, it was about the defense. Players like Jonathan Casillas and DeAndre Levy hitting people, knocking them down, not giving them extra yards, not letting them fall forward on the tackle, just knocking heads. And then after that touchdown got scored, Ohio State basically just drove down, kept dropping counter runs, and the Badgers couldn't contain them. I mean, it took them maybe 6 plays to score that tying touchdown.
Yeah. Were you able to actually watch it on TV, by the way? That's a question I got for you. Do you guys see it? Or
I caught it on the radio.
On the radio?
I managed to sneak into the Rathskeller after halftime. They shouldn't do that with the Big Ten Network so early. It makes it harder.
This whole thing of just making it that we can't, the NFL Network and I don't know.
Yeah,
that's another
NFL,
stuff.
Big Ten, everybody's
Now, did you see on? I think I stumbled on this on UWBadgers.com.
Mm-hmm.
There was a letter from. It was either from the Badgers or from the Big Ten that basically said, all you people who thought that none of the big games would be on the Big Ten Network, we're showing you right now. This is why you need us. And I was just like, that's rude. That's unpleasant to mention. We don't really control this. You two have to. Charter and Big Ten Network have to figure something out.
I heard that John Wiley actually wrote a letter to the state legislature about that, just explaining why they signed that contract and the fact that there's a lot of academic things on the Big Ten Network as well, which there are, but they air between 2 and 4 in the morning, so nobody actually watches them, but they're there. So, I mean, you can actually, learn about our chemistry department at 2 in the morning on the Big Ten Network.
Yay!
But, yeah.
I'm signing up tonight,
everybody's
man.
so happy
and
about
plus, you can see the Bo Ryan Soulja Boy dance, and really, it's pretty important.
Wow. This, the radio really doesn't do that justice to talk about it and then not.
It's true.
I was just going to say that about radio, though, Brandon. I'm an old school, you know that. It's not so bad, actually, listening to it on radio. It is really not that bad, actually. It's not the end of the world. And Matt LePay had a great call.
Oh, yeah, I love listening to Badger games on the radio.
Yeah, because that one catch by Beckham, he was just going crazy. So, how close was that, by the way?
The Beckham catch?
Yeah.
It looked pretty good. I mean, he looked to get his hands under it. It was sort of bobbling while he was rolling on the ground, but when it was all said and done, I don't think it caught any turf.
Okay, well, we got Ohio State out of the way. Now we got Michigan coming up Saturday. What do you think there, Brandon? Be positive. Come on now.
Well, we got a shot at them. Mm-hmm. It's all going to depend on the run game. I mean, against Ohio State, they had a game total of 12 rushing yards. The Badgers did. And I don't know what P.J. Hill's status is going to be for next week. It's all going to depend on the run game. I mean, Donovan's going to have to not make any stupid calls. I mean, he didn't throw any interceptions this week, so that's a plus.
He did hold on to the ball too long, though, and get sacked 10 times, I believe.
Yeah, that's about right.
That was rough. According to rumor, I don't have any information to substantiate this, but I've heard that Mike Hart and Chad Henne both might be hurt for next week's game, which would give the Badgers somewhat of an edge. And honestly, I don't see what the big deal with Michigan is. Everyone's talking about how they're really dangerous since they lost those two first games. Who have they played since those first two games? I mean, they beat Penn State by 5 early.
Yeah, they played the same teams we did and beat them. So,
I guess that's true.
That's about it, really. I mean, they're not really dangerous because they lost those first two games, but they're Michigan. And you can always count on Michigan tanking one in the non-conference schedule and then having to fight back. And that's what makes them dangerous, is they don't want to go, 9-3 or 8-4 or whatever. They want to get as close to the national title as they can, and they're number 12 in the BCS now. So, I mean, they're not going to make any noise as far as the overall picture goes. There is a chance that you could have a 2-loss team conceivably playing for the national title.
There is, but not Michigan. You can't lose to a 1AA. They could, however, if they run the table, go to the BCS and maybe even actually sneak in an at-large BCS bid.
You got to give Michigan credit, though, the way they at least come back after the debacle with Appalachian State and, some of the early, losses that they've had.
And especially without Henne and Hart, too. I mean, you got to feel for Mike Hart a little bit. I mean, he goes to Michigan, so we have to hate him as well. But,
of course. Of course.
But
it's just natural.
For a guy that easily could have been top 15 last year if he'd come out, to come back and have your team lose the first two games, be completely out of title contention, and then get hurt after that.
See, I just don't agree with that. Whenever I watch Mike Hart, all I can think is, this man is a great college back. This man, I mean, he can dominate a college game, but something about his lack of speed, and I think he's kind of short, something about that just doesn't scream NFL. Like Anthony Davis, superb college back. Not much.
Horrible.
7. What?
Yeah.
The man got Heisman consideration his last 2 years.
Yeah, but in the pros, horrible.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
that's what I was talking about. Sorry.
7th round draft pick.
Yeah.
And something about Mike Hart, I look at him and I think, this guy is going to be a great college back and not much more. Like a Mike Wilkinson in basketball.
Yeah, but I mean, that'll always get you some looks in the pros, though, because there's always teams that are going to be like, well, he was so great in college, and he's got to be able to do something for us in the pros.
It's true, but I mean, that'll get you a tryout. Maybe he can probably get a roster spot, only because I think he's just, when he's got his back up against the wall, he can do some amazing things. But I'm not sure if he can get to that level where he can be a full NFL back.
Did you see some of the other games yesterday? How about the Navy finally beating Notre Dame for like 43 years?
Yeah, first time in 43 games.
Did you see any highlights of that game? There was a pass play under the minute left to go, and the guy jumped up
to Reggie. Oh, you mean the sack?
Yeah, the sack.
Oh,
yeah.
And especially because I believe it was Charlie Weiss forewent a 41-yard game-winning field goal to try for that.
Oh, really?
To try for that on 4th and 8.
They gotta fire that guy. They're not gonna, but they have to.
But I'm telling you, that the Navy guy, he looked like he was in war at that time. He leaped over the guy. It was just awesome. I love watching the armed forces teams, Navy, Army, and all that good stuff.
Oh, those crazy options are fun. And I don't know, looking at that game last week, all I could think was Navy finally has Notre Dame on a down year.
Yeah.
And Navy's defense is terrible. I think they're giving up 30-plus a game. And I was just like...
So's Notre Dame.
Oh, that's true. And I was just looking and thinking, Navy's finally got their shot, and their defense might not be good enough to pull it out. And I will say this, their offense came and bailed them out big with 46 points.
Yeah, another one of those overtime gems. And Kansas dumped 76 points on Nebraska.
Winning.
Pure lovely vengeance.
Yeah, I love watching Nebraska get drilled.
And how many times do you think Nebraska dropped 70 on Kansas just for fun back in the day, just because they could?
Like 3 years ago they did that.
I wish they would have gotten